And, you know, you're looking pretty good for a dinosaur.
Oh, well, thank you. Me Grimlock, me Dinobot leader.
That's right. I'm here at TFCon with Grimlock, the Dinobot leader.
Yes.
I expect something older, I don't know.
I don't know either. It's well, there's a portrait in the closet that, well, never mind, that's a whole other deal.
Right.
Right, yeah.
Right.
No.
So when you took the job as Grimlock and some of the other Transformers, it was just a job, right?
Well, I don't know if anything is just a job. You put your heart and soul into everything you do, and you try to bring your A game every time to everything you do. But yes, I became more and more attached to Grimlock and all of the other Transformers I've been fortunate enough to be entrusted with over time. And convention audiences have made me aware of how much it's meant to them. And I've become more and more aware of how much it means to me. It's decades later, and it still has a life of its own, and it's still airing on the hub in the United States, G1. But there have been successive generations, and I've come back as the same character in a whole different way in Fall of Cybertron, and now I've returned again in Rise of the Darkspark, the newest game, which is tied into Age of Extinction. So I'm back, and I'm Grimlock past, present, and hopefully future.
Hopefully, yeah, for sure.
Hear, hear.
And what was it like doing your first con when you came as a voice actor? Like,
I would say one of the first Transformers cons I did was a bot con, and that was really my first inkling of how much it meant and how big fandom for the Transformers franchise itself was. It's enormous. It has a life of its own, and it has an enormous amount of fandom which is passionate about this franchise and this whatever this all is that is Transformers. It has a life of its own, and so many people who it means so much to. It's fantastic.
Because it was part of our childhoods. As a kid, that's what we watched. That's what we enjoyed. Your life, you know, what you gave to us was phenomenal. So now to meet you and, like, you know, years later, it's like, oh my gosh, it's Grimlock. Thank you. That's why we do it, because you made it so special for us. And
why I do it is because the opportunity to meet people one-on-one and actually be part of this means more to me than I could ever really express. It's great. I love it.
Sludge do what Grimlock.
Wow. And what are plans for you now in the future?
I'm doing the Garfield show. I bark and slurp Odie. Squeak the mouse, who's also on the Garfield show. He's the only mouse that Garfield won't kick out of the house because we're very good friends. And an alley cat named Harry, and a mailman named Herman Post, who doesn't like to deliver to the Arbuckle house because that cat. So I'm doing that. Narrating a show for the History Channel called Biker Battleground Phoenix. I'm as busy as I've ever been, and I love my work. But I know people that do construction, and compared to heavy lifting, voicing for a living is a pretty good way to go.
Yeah, as Scott McNeil once told me, it's like the best job ever.
It may be the best job ever. Actually, the work is getting a job. Doing the work is getting paid to play, so the hard part's getting a job.
Any advice up there for any voice actors, future voice actors?
I'll tell you the best advice there is. Just realize that they're looking for characters, not voices. It has to be fully realized at the time you give it. A voice won't do it, but if you understand the character, the voice will follow.
Sure. I mean, I had background training in animation, and when we always were outstanding by the way that the actors would go in there. Actually, you would act while you're in there, not just
okay, it's my part. Transformers go.
That's exactly right. It's a three-dimensional skill, not one-dimensional.
Cool. Do they actually film any of the times you do it, like for the animators?
Sometimes, and sometimes you do stop frame or actually motion capture, where they'll put you in what looks like a wetsuit that has little sort of
little beepers on them?
Beepers on them, and then they capture you in 3 dimensions and they animate to you. That's kind of interesting.
While you're talking.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
That's a whole separate skill.
You have to walk around a set, or you're actually in the room and they just capture you as you're doing it?
It's different than a set. It's kind of like a little arena, and it captures you in 3 dimensions. You see yourself on a computer, and you recognize every quirk you have, but even though all you see is this 3D rendering of yourself, you recognize yourself because it has every quirk that you have, you recognize as you. It's bizarre.
Wow.
But cool. Very cool.
It's excellent. Ladies and gentlemen, Grimlock.
Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for talking to me. You know, June Foray and Mel Blanc and Jonathan Winters, and holy cow. And on Duckman, I worked with James Brown. You know, Hornfed couldn't get Duckman to come out of the shed, and I said, well, if I can't get you to come out of the shed, he said, Godfather sold me. And then I introduced that. Come on out, James Brown.
Duckman, get out of that shed. Duckman.